All right, we are live today on the You vs. You show. This is Todd Cahill. I'm your host of the show. We are live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And we always are interviewing some incredible, interesting, amazing people that are goal-oriented, action-oriented, but very heart-driven. And just like yesterday, we have an amazing guest again today. So we're going to be speaking to Theresa, and she's an amazing client with our institute. She has an amazing story to share. But if you're new to the show, thank you so much for joining. Definitely comment, let us know that you're watching, and we want to add amazing value to you, obviously, on these shows. Now, as the author of the book, You vs. You, the 12 Ways to Kick Your Own Ass and Win, I do believe that there's a lot of part of life that is going to be conscious, it's going to be action-oriented, and there are major battles that we all face, like financial battles, relationship battles, promises and persona and all this stuff. But we also have the emotional side. We have the subconscious side. So we're going to talk a lot about that today with Theresa on the subconscious side, what she does, what her background is, and we're going to get right into it today. So with that said, Theresa, thanks so much for being on the show. I know that you have just been a great student of the subconscious side. You have studied what's called the emotion code and the body code quite heavily over these past many years. I know that you are a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. You've done some amazing things in the beauty industry as well. So I would love to tie the entrepreneurial spirit to all of this as well on the interview today. So go ahead and start just by giving us a little bit of background, where you're from, where you live, a little bit of your background, and then we'll dive into some of these amazing topics that we have today.
Okay, great. Thanks, Todd. Thank you for having me on your show.
My pleasure.
I'm Theresa Guimont. I am a mom of 4 adult children, and I have 5 grandchildren. They keep me very busy. And in the midst of all that, having a big family, I became a hairstylist. I always wanted to work for myself. Mm-hmm. It's a great field to be in. It's creative. You're able to help other people build their self-confidence. I love helping people. Mm-hmm. And you create great relationships, and that's always what's really, really important to me. Mm-hmm. And so I just love to cultivate just relationships and finding out what other people are doing, and like what are their life struggles, and then mm-hmm. I compare it with mine, and like, wow, I'm not alone. So yeah, we all like struggle, and it's like that made me want to dive in deeper and want mm-hmm. to know more from why we are the way we are.
Okay. Well, why we are the way we are is a perfect way to talk about the wounds of our past. Okay. So the wounds from our past create filters that distort our perception of current realities and truths. So that's in your exact words, actually. So tell us about that. So the wounds from our past create filters that distort our perception of current realities and truths. So what's your take on that? I would love to hear your perspective.
Well, what I've kind of just learned through my own experience is like through childhood or even adulthood, like just mm-hmm. traumas or things that happen to us, it mm-hmm. causes wounds in our soul, and it kind of sticks with us. So then our mind takes a snapshot of that and says, okay, this is going to happen every time this mm-hmm. situation happens. Wow. So what we do is we put up a filter. So now we see every situation through this filter. So now It's distorted. And so we don't see life quite clearly. It's our truth, but it's not what everybody else's truth is. So if you think about it, you have an accident, and the cops go around and they take a report from each person. Each person will perceive something different just because of their own traumas or experiences in life.
That's amazing. Well, I love what you say too, is as a result, we become emotionally reactive. And we've all been guilty of that. And some marriages have ended because of a reaction. Some friendships have ended because somebody overreacted. Business partnerships have ended because of reaction. So it's a very serious consequence if we emotionally react in our lives, in our finances. And yes, we're going to regret that. So how can somebody not react like that? How can somebody be more proactively if what you're saying obviously is it's filtering in their own head a distorted perception? How can we overcome that so that we can be more proactive instead of reactive?
Well, what I have done is I just started paying attention to how I was responding to people in situations.
Mm-hmm.
So then what I do is I feel it coming up, and then I tell myself to be quiet
Mm-hmm.
and sit without emotion. And then I just sit there and I don't feed into it, because what happens is as soon as we react and we emotionally snap at somebody or just go after them, then what happens is that we feed the ego. So then you're actually operating from the subconscious mind at that point rather than the conscious mind.
Yeah.
And then what it does is just keeps re-wounding you over and over and over. And not only you're wounding yourself, you're wounding the other person. And you're both are like sleepwalking in life.
Yeah.
You're not even realizing what you're doing. So if you could just stop and realize, and the more you do it, it's like a muscle. You get stronger and stronger, and then you start catching yourself more and more and more.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of cool.
That's powerful, because if we can stop ourselves before we react and just observe where the negative thoughts are coming from, we no longer have to feed them, making it possible to replace them with positive responses. So, I mean, again, this is in your own words. This sounds like an amazing book that maybe you need to write. But tell me about that. Tell me about, what you said right there.
With just stopping in the moment. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because if we can stop ourselves before we react. Okay, so if we're constantly conditioned, we condition our mind to anytime someone offends us, or, this was crazy. So I've heard friendships end because somebody votes for Republican and they don't vote Democratic. I think that's so dumb. I'm friends with atheists. I believe in God, that doesn't mean I'm not going to be friends with them. So it's so stupid to bring in our own perspectives, and because the world's different. So how do we open up our lenses to be more loving to others, to not be so reactive, to try to understand each other's perspectives more, instead of just thinking everything is just in our own lens, and that's where the reaction is coming from. So how can we stop ourselves before, obviously we're seeing this all over the world. So many people are just reacting. They're not listening. They're not listening, Well,
they're going into the subconscious, and they're responding to whatever wounds they have. So then when you're doing that, the most important thing that everybody has to realize, that people come first. Mm-hmm. And if we can actually visualize people as like wrapped up in bandages because they're wounded, and they're actually acting out of their wounds within their soul of these traumas that happen. Mm-hmm. So it's a gateway. It kind of like, it's not even really them. There's I believe in the spiritual realm. Mm-hmm. And I also believe there's things that we open a door. So when we get offended, we open a door. Well, when we do that, then we have things that come in, and they come in and torment us. And then what does it want to do? It not only wants to torment you, but it also wants to destroy the other person, and it's going to use you to do it. Well, I'm the kind of person, I don't like to be controlled. Don't tell me what to do. So I kind of do this little game in my head, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not giving that to you. God loves these people. He loves me, and I'm going to forgive this person, and I'm going to make a choice in this moment to not get offended. And if I did get offended, then I own it, and I forgive the other person, and I just bless them. And so that's kind of what I do.
That's amazing.
And have been doing for a while. And I just get better and better as time goes on.
That's amazing. So I want to kind of get to you personally now, and then kind of get back to this amazing content. So you became a hairstylist after going through a divorce, okay? And this is where you came alive and were able to express your creativity by helping other people feel confident in themselves. So let's talk a little bit about the outer beauty a little bit, what that does, how you fell into that passion. Tell me a little bit about that. What are your thoughts about that, and what kind of drove you to start that after divorce, which could be very traumatic and very reactive, but you stepped inside, kind of doing something on your own.
Well, the funny thing is, I used to cut and color my family's hair. It was just fun. And so that was in high school, but then I got well, I got divorced, and then so then I was 30, and then I started going to school. So it was kind of a little afterthought there. But after the divorce, I had to obviously find out what I was going to do, trying to find myself, reground myself. So I get into doing hair. And hair is just a great outlet to express yourself. To me, it was like a house takes too long to build, but in a couple hours, I can make you look pretty darn good. And and then people leave, and it builds their self-confidence. They love it because I love to listen. Like, the key to it is listening to my clients and really listening to what they want. And they appreciate that. It makes them feel valued, like you really care what they have to say. And so I've just always listened, and then communication with them. So not only that, I get the creative side, I get the relationship part. And then now I just help someone build some confidence in them. So when they go out to the world, they can go in and do what they do and do it with confidence.
So watch this. I want to make a couple interesting points here. So you got divorced, and 1 out of 2 people unfortunately get divorced. It's the reality, but we've all known a male or a female that when they get divorced, they react. I mean, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, it could be trauma. But what you did is tell me about just the pivot that you made to go from that. And we don't have to get into that. I don't want to, but what I want to get into is the reaction you had. And your reaction, it seems like you were proactive. You weren't like, woe is me, and I'm just going to, just sit here in my house and feel sorry for myself and just wait for child support pay, whatever, what I mean? Like, you actually took action. And I do see so many people on the opposite side of that. They're just talking to their friends all the time. Some women start to hate men. Some men start to not believe in women. I mean, that, but you were proactive, right? And what did that do for your confidence? Not only just giving that to other people on a physical side, but what do you think that did for you to help you rise up? And I know it's a process, but help you to become even more confident in who you are, to even be on an interview right now with me right now. I'm sure you're nervous. You don't seem like it, but like, how did you step into that power after all that happened to you?
Well, I think, to be honest, I had a girlfriend decide, well, I'm going to go to beauty school. And I'm like, why didn't I think of that? I love doing hair. It's fun. And it kind of like lights up my spirit. It like makes me happy. It puts me in a happy place. And I think it made it easy. It just made it easy. There really wasn't, I think what was really hard, because I was obviously had to work a lot, and I had to see, I saw the kids on the weekends, and that's the suck part, because I was working, going to school, and I don't remember a lot of it. It was actually, I really had to just push through and make it happen. I really didn't have a choice.
Wasn't it a year ago? Because now you're 31.
Yeah, a year ago.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, cool. We'll have to work on your memory, because that was only a year ago. But anyway, go ahead.
So, I don't know. I just, I got to tell you, being young is awesome, because you're really just kind of haven't, life has happened to you a little bit, but it really hasn't happened to you a whole lot. And you have a lot more guts, and you just do it. You don't think about it. You just go and you do it. And you don't know how you're going to do it. You're just going to do it, and you'll figure it out on the way, And I listen to my kids. They're in their 30s now. And that's what they say. I don't know. I'll just figure it out. And then, they kind of become my teachers. And I'm like, they bring me back to being that childlike mind again, like where we need to be to grow, because we get in our own way and we stop ourselves because of things that have happened to us.
Absolutely. Well, what really comes up for a lot of people that I've interviewed and a lot of people that I've talked to, and I think a lot of people out there that are watching this, is this thing of self-worth, right? Is they feel like I'm not worthy, whether it's because of this past wounds that we're talking about. Like, we all have wounds, right? I call it battle tested. Are you really battle tested in the battle of life? Hence the you versus you, 12 ways to kick your own ass and win. It's a battle, right? So without our wounds, we really are nothing. I mean, that's what gives us the experience, but it's our job to react either proactively or reactively, and we have to choose, okay? We have to choose to grow. But, with our wounds and with our past things that we all have, when you said being young, maybe they don't have enough wounds yet, so they're not cynical. but they're more, optimistic. But what happens is the older that you get, life happens. Like a lot of times people let life happen, not for them, but to them. They have way too many wounds and they give up. Even though they're still alive, they kind of wave the white flag and like, whatever, my dreams are over. So here you are, right? And again, 31 years old, and you have 30-year-old kids. So that's kind of weird, but cool. So here's you, right? So you're a part of something called Inside Out Institute. Tell me a little bit what went into your head recently about your self-worth and how you finally, really, not like it's your first time, but how you really stepped into that full power, like, I'm worthy, not only to be a part of a program like that, but I'm worthy enough to guide other people as a practitioner and do what you need to do to win on that front, because now you're going to make a massive difference in the lives of other people. So talk to me about that process in your own way, so that way you can inspire others that are watching this to do it themselves.
Well, that's kind of funny because, I've been doing the body code for 5 years on just for me and my family. And then I saw your post, and I've been following you for a while. And, I enjoyed the stuff that you talked about. Mm-hmm. And then you brought the emotional code to it, and that kind of lit me up and made me contact you. And why did I do it then? Because I did the emotional code, and I really believed in the subconscious part of it, that right. needed to be removed, because I was mm-hmm. very wounded. Mm-hmm. And I have vapor locked, and I have frozen my life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I can't make it. Mm-hmm. I'm not worthy. I'm unworthy. I have fear. Fear is like paralyzing me. And, mm-hmm. but that day when I talked to you, I was sitting here and my business wasn't doing very good with the hair. We weren't closed yet. Actually, it was coming up on the close.
Yeah. February. Yep.
So I was sitting there and I was talking with you. Oh shoot, where was I going with that?
Yeah, just stepping in your full power, like getting confidence there. You're
I guess I was just sitting there, and what made me make the decision, I had mm-hmm. to. I was sitting there. Do I keep doing life like this?
Yeah.
And keep going nowhere, or do I actually step out mm-hmm. and invest in myself and just make it happen?
Yep.
That was it. Then I did it because I didn't like where I was. I wanted more.
Yeah, and the other thing is, you can't go where you've never been too. You can't go where you've never been. So if you want a shift in your life, as much as you listen to podcasts, as much as you read a book, as much as you do everything you can proactively on your own, the reason that we call our institute Inside Out is because everyone has the ingredients to be amazing on the inside. I mean, no question. God doesn't make junk. We're all amazing on the inside. We all have the capacity. We all have the talent. I mean, we all have different talents, obviously, but we all have the ingredients. Like we're baking a cake, right? No one's missing eggs, so to speak, inside themselves. We all have the ingredients to bake an amazing life. But, and the big but, capital B-U-T, is we need guidance. We need help to have somebody or so many people, whatever, to pull that out of us. So the more people that become self-aware, that they ask for help, are they're the ones that are going to win the most. So if someone's like comparing themselves to others, which obviously I wouldn't recommend, you shouldn't do it, but in the fact that we all do it, the people that you look up to are usually the ones that have mentors. They're usually the ones that have therapists or psychologists or emotion code practitioners or leadership coaches or some kind of coach or guide or facilitator that's helping them, throughout their life. So I think a lot of the I'm not worthy, I think, comes from people that, would you agree with this? Like, tell me about this philosophy, that are so afraid to ask for the help. So where do you think that might come from? Even from you, maybe for many years, maybe you just felt a pride or an ego, like we all have, that you didn't ask for the help that maybe you could have gotten even years ago. So what shifted, and tell me a little bit about that.
I think it was just shame of yourself that you weren't able to figure it out, and why you compared yourself. We're not supposed to compare ourselves, which then causes condemnation and shame upon it, and then we feel worthless.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I think we have to really look at ourselves and we have to humble ourselves. We need to get out of our own way and be humble, because if we're not humble, then we're not teachable or coachable. And I think I was always afraid to be wrong, like, and then feel bad about it, because then that made me fit. That brought up shame in me. So that's not a good feeling. So what is shame? Shame is where we hide. We want to hide in a corner. And then guilt, which is the opposite one, you still feel bad, but you don't, you'll go home and tell somebody, I can't believe that person said this to me. Yeah. Shame doesn't happen. We don't talk when we're in the place of shame. So I think that's why.
So using like the emotion code, the body code, a lot of the 5 years of you kind of studying this, how does somebody overcome that? How if someone's shameful, and there's so many different ways to be shameful, maybe lack of success, fear of failure, maybe they're overweight physically, they're shamed to go to the gym. They don't know where to start. They don't want to be looked down upon. They don't think they're smart enough. They don't want to even ask because people might shame them, and that causes shame on themselves. What have you learned about that you can actually just share maybe as advice to help people get out of that mindset so they can be in a receiving mode instead of a lack mode?
It's just believing, or just learning who you are as a person and where you come from. With me, I believe in God. And so I read the good book, and, when we're disconnected from God, or knowing what we come from, then that creates a lot of bitterness, anger. It's like a melting pot of all this icky stuff, and we believe these false lies about ourselves. And so it basically is just a lack of knowledge. Those people will perish from a lack of knowledge. So it's our responsibility to go in and find out who we are. And then once we realize who we are, we can rise up to that and start rejecting the negative thoughts, because everybody has them. Everybody does. It's our choice to either entertain it or divorce it.
Absolutely. And I love that. We believe false lies about ourselves. Okay. So again, if we're at that place where I think like 90% of people are, by the way, this isn't like a small percentage of people worldwide, especially in America, right? We believe false lies about ourselves. Again, that's why it's so important, would you agree, that they need help?
Yeah.
Because if your whole life you believe all these lies, false lies, you have your own distorted perception, you have all these wounds, you're never going to be able to rise up and take the sword and take the hill by yourself. And no YouTube video is going to inspire you. It will, temporary, but again, what you're talking about is full transformation. And that's the protagonist in any movie, is the main character who does a full-on transformation that we leave the audience, or we leave the movie feeling so inspired because we saw it unfold in front of us. And that's literally the script of your life that you can create, being the protagonist of your own life. And most people don't get that. So last question here, then, how do we follow you on the conscious side? What are you doing on the conscious side to write your own script of where you want to be in the next 5 years? What have you done? What have you learned? And what has it done for you already, just on the conscious side of the achievement side?
Well, what I do is I spend time doing meditation. I also do, I also read the good book. I implement exercise because that helps with good endorphins. It keeps your lymphatic system going, and it just makes your head clear, makes you feel good, gives you energy. And just actually, you know what? I've been doing the keto and intermittent fasting. And the reason why I'm doing the intermittent fasting, I'm 5 years old, so I'm starting to go through the menopause thing, and life's caught up with me, and my digestive system's messed up. And when we don't have a good functioning digestive system, you have a nerve that runs from your stomach up to your brain. So when that's out of balance, you're not thinking clearly. So if you're not thinking clearly, then you're more fatigued, your mood changes, you have anxiety. It causes a lot of things that we don't want to deal with. And it makes us feel bad about ourselves. And so we start self-sabotaging our lives, kind of. But
so true.
So just doing that, it's about getting healthy before. I don't need to lose weight, but it's just getting healthy and resetting my organs, make sure my body's, I'm taking care of my body so that I can function properly. I can have a healthy mind, exercising so I have healthy endorphins going, meditating so my intuition, I can be connected with God more, and just positive thinking. Just like, no, I'm not going to think that way. No, I'm not doing that. I am not going to submit to that negative emotion. Yep. I will only accept this. And I just will decree it in my life until I get my way.
Absolutely.
I just won't settle for less.
And also, all that's amazing, and it's so critical. That's like self-care, self-love. It's going to make you look great. It's going to make you feel great. And I know right now we're working on like your 5-year vision. We're working on your annual goals. We're working on like all of how to really put this in writing, right? How to declare it, how to manifest it. A lot of people love that word manifest. I love manifest, but some people think manifest means just, do yoga and, kind of like meditate, and that's it. And then all of a sudden, all these great people are going to come to you, and you're going to have all these clients, and, a law of attraction. If you wish upon the Lamborghini will show up at your door. But that's half the battle, is just manifesting in your mind. But then you have to take the action. You have to actually work out, sweat, blood, sweat, and tears. But the cool thing is for you, you're getting the clarity, and you have the clarity to know what your future looks like. And I think that is such a healthy space to be mindset-wise. Clarity plus focus equals energy. And that's what I know that you're just loving right now, is you're getting the clarity, you're getting that confidence, you're thriving, you're enjoying it, and you're enjoying the journey. Is that pretty correct statement?
Yeah, I'm really, really happy with the Inside Out program. It is hands down the best program I have ever been. Like, I can't wait for the calls. I can't wait for the group to get together. The positive energy, how it just kind of, you can feel it lifting you up. And like, that's what you need. We need to have an environment where we can thrive and grow. And it's such a positive environment. And then we have you on the conscious side. You're pushing me to, you need to identify this and this. And,
right.
And then there's the subconscious mind. It's like, okay, I'm struggling with getting this done with Todd. So I need Emmanuel, please help me figure out what emotion's blocking me so I can release that, so I can start flowing.
Yeah. I mean, we could have curses on us. We could have entities on us. We could have tons of anxiety. We don't even know where it's coming from on us. And it's so hard to go kick butt, kick ass, and take names when we have that on us. Yeah. And, there's some people out there that might think that's woohoo and you just got to grind it out. And I hate that word grind, because life is a lot more than just action. It's a lot emotional. We're emotional creatures. So if you have emotional baggage and you don't know how to get rid of it, good luck, because you'll never reach a fulfillment life. You'll never reach a level of success that you really want. You can gain the world but lose your soul in the process, because you're going after the wrong things. And both sides are who we are. We're made up of the subconscious and the conscious. The subconscious is 24/7. The conscious sleeps 6 to 8 hours a day, but does wake up, and it really controls. You have 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Hello? Come back. Todd? Hello? I guess in. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Yes, and so all of your emotions are like a volcano. So they go dormant, and then things trigger us, and we explode. So we can get our souls healed, and then we're less reactive. And with that, that makes our life flow easier. So thank you, everybody. If you need to reach me, I'm Theresa Guimont on Facebook. On Instagram, I'm mama_Guimont. Please come visit me. You have any questions for me, please message me. I would love to do a free session on you with the body code. And thank you for your time. This has been fun. Bye-bye.